Hello, my friends, and welcome to Men with Funny Heads, a podcast in which we watch science fiction and then tell you all about it for reasons that baffle all and sundry. I am Wib, and I am joined by Longfang. Say hello, Longfang.
Hi, everyone.
I want you to know that I had to restrain myself from starting this podcast by simply shrieking Lazuli.
Okay, good. I have.
Because that joke won't make any sense until about an hour from now if you haven't seen this movie.
And it still won't make any sense.
I mean,
Christ.
It broadly makes sense. It's like if I went into battle shrieking Derbyshire. Anyway, how are you doing, my friend?
I am a functional human being.
That's all we can ask.
I'm cold and I had to watch a movie.
You did have to watch a movie. Such is the torment that I put you through. Shall I just get into it then?
No. How are you? What's going on? How are things?
I'm fine.
Pleasantries are a good idea.
Pleasantries are good. Everything is fine. I mean, broadly speaking, everything is absolutely fucking terrible all the time. But I myself am fine.
Yes. That is all we can hope for.
That is all that can be hoped for. Today we are going to be covering the 1980 space opera Battle Beyond the Stars, which was produced by Roger Corman, directed by Jimmy T. Murakami, and it's, how can I put this delicately? It's one of those movies that was made because
Star Wars.
Because Star Wars happened and people were like, that's made a lot of money, let's also do that.
I still have to respect Roger Corman, though. Jesus Christ. I want you to make a movie in 3 weeks. Here's your budget. Go.
He was very good at the very specific thing he did.
Yeah. He's kind of like, what was that company now? The Asylum, but good.
Yeah, no, I would 100% rather watch 20 Roger Corman films than watch a single Asylum film at this point.
Yep. You mean
I watched
you don't want to watch Atlantic Rim for the Men with Funny Heads?
Now for a podcast, I would totally watch that. Maybe an actual knockoff movie might be a fun thing to do at some point. But yeah, this movie is not a knockoff movie though, and one of the fun things about it is that there's lots of people in it or related to it that you will recognise.
Yes.
Like how the special effects for this were done by James Cameron.
Yep.
He
started out as a Corman guy doing matte paintings, I think.
Yeah, and this was like his big break into the entertainment industry. Like this was his film where he first got like a big kind of part to play in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can thank this movie in specific for Aliens or The Terminator, and also blame it for the endless Avatar sequels that we are constantly being threatened with.
Threatened with, and yet nothing has happened yet.
Yeah, I mean, we got like the Avatar land, what is it, Pandora? At one of the Disney parks, which I am continually perplexed is a real thing. I have seen footage of it. I've watched Jenny Nicholson talk about it for like an hour.
Yep.
And I still don't believe it's real. On a fundamental level, I think everyone is joking.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Longfang is going to be taking us through the plot of Battle Beyond the Stars. But it is... we were briefly talked about this before the podcast, but it is a movie in which there's not a whole lot happening, yet somehow everything is happening all the time. There's a lot there, but also nothing.
You know how, I don't know, Star Wars has, a pretty straightforward plot with a lot of cool things, and you don't have to worry too much about, working out where each character is at all times? This is a different scenario.
Although, speaking of Star Wars... Did you know that Rey is reading a book about force levitation? She can't put it down.
The book came back, didn't it?
I have the officially branded Star Wars joke book in front of me. That is the third member of Men with Funny Heads.
I'm going to kill you.
Well, before you do that, do you want to go through the plot of Battle Beyond the Stars?
Oh boy, buckle up, everyone. So,
hold on to your butts.
I want to point out, just as we start, we are treated to, in the intro credits, Starfield, the names of the big actors in the movie. It's all, very of the time and kind of cozy sci-fi. And you hear this music, and it's strangely like stuff you'd hear in Wrath of Khan. It's the same fucking composer.
Yeah, James Horner?
Yes.
Yeah, this was done a few years before Wrath of Khan, and yes, you're not the only person to have noticed how similar they are.
Yeah.
He liked to reuse things that worked, so yeah.
No, I can say that the Wrath of Khan version of most of these tunes is better, but you can hear the bare bones of all of them.
100%, yeah.
So we open after these credits on a flyby shot of a ship that's sort of like a blockade runner and a Star Destroyer jammed together.
Yeah, I was thinking that. It's like they combined every ship from the start of A New Hope.
Yeah.
Just kind of mashed together. Fun fact, apparently the script referred to the ship as the Hammerhead.
That makes sense. It's a nice miniature, actually, I should mention that. On the bridge, we get the crew giving out exposition about a planet they're looking at, which is called Akir. As they put it, it's a planet of stone with a single green spot. Okay? And it becomes quite obvious that the ship is going to attack this planet. The leader asks about the local population's form. This is their term for species and body, I believe.
They cut throughout the movie when they're like, this form or whatever.
Yeah. And a crew member, rattles off details in response. They are similar forms to their own. Again, they're the same species, near enough. They are oxygen burners, which, okay, they breathe oxygen, fine. Have a lateral symmetry, have no defences, use solar technology, and their only spacecraft is a weather survey ship. That ship is... Okay, I love the miniatures in this movie. Just going to say.
Yeah, they're great. I mean, thanks to Jim Cameron, I guess.
I guess, yeah. We cut to the interior of said survey ship as they notice the incoming craft and try and greet them. And are like,
one of them's like,
maybe they put it through the translator. Maybe it's just that's the problem. And then they get blown up.
Yeah, I love it how one of them's just like, oh, hello there. Like, really politely
Welcome
and happily.
to Akir. Or Akris, whatever. Akir?
Even though it is obviously a fucking giant warship.
Yeah.
It's the most evil looking thing.
Yeah, it is. On the surface of Akir, for some reason I've typed Akris in this bit, it's making it very distracting. We see a town made entirely of people superimposed onto matte paintings.
The best kind of science fiction town.
An alarm crystal thingy alerts the locals of the fact that their weather survey ship is busted and something bad is happening, but it's too late. The craft of the bad guys flies over the world, and it's weird-shaped buildings and random bystanders superimposed upon them, casting a shadow over everything. And then a voice blares out. Now, I did actually fucking copy all this down. Hear me, beings of Akir. And then a face becomes visible in the hull of the craft. I am Sador of the Malmori. It's actually just John Saxon with some paint on his face.
Yeah, I think I described him in my notes as Zordon, but with ketchup on his face. Because he's a big blue head, like,
projected
on the bottom of the spaceship.
Yes. So, goes on about, I am here to conquer your planet, and anyone who attempts to stop him will be killed. I have the most powerful weapon in the universe, the Stellar Converter, which is a great name. And, I'll be back in 7 risings of your red giant, and at that point you must accept me as your new master. And also, if you resist, I'll burn your entire planet to ash. Cool. At this point...
the one thing I didn't really understand, like, when I was going through that whole thing, I'm like, okay, but why do you want this planet? Like, it as far as we're led to believe, it's basically like a village full of people who make, like, just enough grain to survive. Like.
We don't figure that out, or it doesn't actually spell it out until, like, near the end of the movie. And it suddenly makes more sense when you realise that everyone in Sador's crew is a mutant.
Yeah, but there's even that doesn't really make a lot of sense when you break down some of the stuff that happens.
I am not trying to defend this film. I'm just saying this is their justification for it.
Yeah.
Sador then commands his snipers, the ones inside the ship.
Which his ship-to-ship snipers. It's a thing.
It's the fucking guns on the ship. I do not know why they say snipers there. It's so odd. To kill random people in the crowd below as, like, a demonstration of his power. And then they bugger off and leave a single fighter-type ship to keep an eye over the Akira.
You see, I don't know why he shoots everyone, because I kind of get the impression from the Akira, as we kind of see them later, that
I think you mean the Akira.
Oh yes, the Akira. That if they didn't shoot them, they probably would have gone, Okay, you can rule us, sure.
Yep.
Like, I don't think from a day-to-day perspective our life is going to change much. It just means what you want your face printed on our money.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, whatever.
Okay, so we cut to a meeting of the Akira people, and I have in brackets here, yes, that's their name. They have an argument over what their course of action should be, and we get the usual, we are pacifists, and our religion, I guess, the Varda, it's never clear, I guess it's their religion. It's them trying to do the Force, but not.
Yeah, it's, the Varda is sort of, I guess it's like one part religion, one part philosophy. It's just the ethos by which the Akira live.
Mm-hmm.
And it all, like, preaches, like, a kind of, like, peaceful kind of rationality.
Yes. So we get the usual, we are pacifist speech, and then an old man called Zed comes in and he's like, hey, I used to fight, so fuck you. What we need to do is go and hire a group of mercenaries that will defend us. Okay.
To fight creatures of violence, you must use creatures of violence.
That's the one. Fucking Christ. And the hero of our story steps up. His name isn't said for a while, but it's Shad. Just keep that in mind.
The movie is really bad about not saying characters' names.
Yeah, I have at this point in the my notes, I just have old man. His name is Zed. It doesn't get said for a while.
I think they do actually say Zed's name early on, but it's just like in passing.
Yeah.
But Shad's, I literally didn't know what his name was until halfway through the movie.
Yep.
I'm sure they do say it, like, early on, but it is, again, just, like, in a kind of, like, quick passing thing. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you don't commit that to memory, you do sit there and go, no one says their names.
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know what any of these people are. Like, it literally, my only recollection of, there's one character who's one of the main characters of it, and I only remember her name being said, like, twice in the last third of the movie.
Oh, fun. Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about. We'll get to that soon. In 3 hours. It took me 3 hours to get through this movie, writing notes, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes, our hero, Shad, volunteers for the mission to head out and find mercenaries using Zed's old busted Corsair ship that was hidden.
Shad is played by Richard Thomas, who was John Boy in The Waltons. Ask your grandparents.
I recognise his face. He's obviously been in other things, I think, but whatever. So, the mission as it stands. Go to the Phoenix cluster and find the space station of Dr. Hephaestus, who is an old friend of Zed's, who you get the feeling that the movie should have been about young Zed at this point, who was like a fighter or a weapon specialist or something. So yeah, cool, on the way. Cut to a lovely shot of a starship, which is called Nell.
Well, the AI is called Nell, at least.
The ship, we'll just say the ship's called Nell, it makes life easier.
Okay. Could you describe what you think the ship looks like? Because I've got a description, and I want to know if you think it's accurate.
Go ahead.
The ship looks like if the Ferengi decided to make a slug with tits.
Yes. Yes. The Ferengi bit was in my head, because it's got that orange hull colour.
And like the kind of lines of like a Ferengi ship, but it's got these like it kind of like raises up at the front and has these kind of pods that come off the side, and it has a stonking set of tits on the front for some reason. By the way, apparently, and I don't know where this little bit of information comes from, so it may or may not be 100%
when it comes to like Corman studio movies, there's always going to be hearsay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but apparently on set they referred to that ship as the Flying Uterus.
Good.
And from the front, I kind of get it. Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. Our hero, Shad. Again, my notes just say our hero for a while until I get the fucking name. Enters the ship and greets, Nell, hello, hi, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. There's a female voice that comes out, and then they have some small talk and about how, like, oh yeah, this isn't just, flying around the planet. This is the real shit you're in now, kid. And then they fly off on adventure.
Yeah, Nell is continuously, like, vaguely just shitting on Shad. It's quite funny.
Everyone is shitting on Shad.
I mean, I would.
He's a bit of a wiener.
He is. A wiener is a good description of him. Yeah,
that's not a word I use ever, but I think it's a perfect summation of Shad's character.
Yeah, absolutely. There's, like, he's not, like, he's not bad, but I don't like him either.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Malmori fighter that was left to monitor the planet notices Nell and Shad leaving, and are like, "Oh right, we should go blow them up or something." Nell readies the guns and gives control to Shad to shoot the fighter, and he's like, "No, I can't do it. Oh, pacifism." So they make a run for it. And once they move out of range of the planet, the Malmori are like, we should go back to... We should just go back and stay at the planet so we don't get in trouble for disobeying orders. And
yeah, there is actually a line in there that I wanted to make note of, which is one of them, because there's two of these, like, mutant guys. The facial prosthetics remind me of the guy in the bar in Total Recall.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, to the other one, remember Lobo, he disobeyed orders, now Sador is wearing his left foot. Which is a super fucking weird sentence that does make sense later.
Yes, it makes sense much later.
About an hour from now in the movie.
Fucking Christ. We then cut to getting to Hephaestus's station. Nell finally says Shad's name, and we see a decrepit old busted station miniature, which is great once again.
The basis of that miniature was apparently dredged out of a skip, so
good.
It looks it, and good. It also looks like it should be totally full of xenomorphs, and Shad should totally not go in there.
I agree. Shad does what you would assume that would be a good idea, to contact the station, to be like, hey, I'm here from a cure, we need help, and no one responds. So he just decides to dock anyway. Because, of course.
That has never gone badly in a
just
science
to go
fiction.
With your xenomorph comment, yeah, well, we didn't get any reply, but we'll just go anyway.
Yeah. However, I will say, when you see his ship land and then you see him inside it, we get a linear wipe because Star Wars.
Fuck, I missed that. I must have been writing notes at the time.
Yeah.
Damn it. This is your fault. We cut to somewhere in the station and see a technician working on some androids. And then we cut back to Shad in a hallway where a chair shuttle thing appears in front of Shad. And he immediately sits on it, which restrains him and begins choking him out.
Yeah, I have referred to it as the BDSM dodgem in my notes.
Good.
Also, I just want to point out, when you see the person working on robots, she's got, like, one of them singing, and it is...
Oh, God, yeah.
And this robot is in pieces, and then she puts a thing in him so that he'll start singing a song.
Yeah,
and
she puts a giant space cassette in his chest.
And he starts singing, but he's in pieces. Like, he's just like a torso, and then he's like his arms over one place.
Yep.
And he's just singing in this incongruous voice, and it is incredibly disturbing.
Yes.
And this is our introduction to a character.
Yep.
As a fucking monster.
I
know they're just robots, and they're, but, like, also it's fucking weird.
The BDSM dodgem, as you put it, brings Shad to the room with the technician lady who's working on robots. And, she's, okay, what's wrong with you? Shad, of course, being choked out, cannot fucking talk. So the lady's like, alright, it must be your, like, voice modulator or something. And then suddenly realises, oh fuck, you're actually a human. So I guess androids just turn up here to get repaired?
I guess. I don't think it's like androids from like other places. I think just the station is just full of androids.
That is true.
I think that's the impression. So like, and they do all look different. So like, not looking like one of the other ones wouldn't be like a notable thing. I guess.
Shad relays his whole mission to the technician as they travel in the BDSM dodgem without restraints this time. It turns out that Dr. Hephaestus is her father, but he has changed somewhat since Old Man Zed knew him, so might not be wanting to help this time,
Did you notice that all the doors in this space
they make
station
a Darth Vader noise?
Yeah, they make Darth Vader's breathing sound when they open.
Yes.
There's actually a lot of that in this movie, of things that make noises that sound familiar. One of the reasons for this is that some of the sound library that was used for it is literally from, like,
ILM
Star Trek The Motion Picture.
Oh, yeah. No, there's a lot of, like, photon torpedo sounds and stuff.
Yeah.
So, the BDSM dodgem takes him to a doorway, which the lady, whose name is Nanilia, I'm just going to get that out of the way now because it'll make life easier for me.
Yeah, she's the character who I know that she will be named earlier on in the plot, but I don't remember her name being stated until the last third of the movie.
The Doctor says it once.
Yeah.
Fucking Christ.
This is a movie where you have to be paying 100% attention to it at all times, or key pieces of information will just not be present for you.
Yeah. So Nanilia has brought him to the doorway and is like, oh yeah, my father will want to see you, just go on in, I'll meet you later. And we are greeted by the Doctor, who's a head in a bunch of tubes.
It's a living.
Yes, that might be why or how he's changed. He's just a head in a bunch of tubes now. So Shad relays the information again, which Hephaestus is like, oh yeah, I'm kind of hooked into the entire station, so I already knew why you were here. Akir's fucking doomed, so I want you to stay here and procreate with my daughter.
Well, I mean, strictly speaking, he sort of insinuates it, and then Shad goes, oh, you want me to breed with your daughter? And I thought it would be very funny if that turned out not to be his plan.
But it is his plan.
So if Shad had have turned around and was like, "You want me to breed with your daughter?" and he'd be like, "No, fuck, I just want you to keep her company.
Yeah,
Fuck off."
No, he's
Creep.
like, "Oh yeah, the station's so empty because it's just full of like androids and, you know, it would be great if the station had like children running around and families." And it's like, mate, this is some random fucking arse piece that's just walked in the door and you're like, "Breed with my daughter."
Like, is this really, like, you know, you've probably got a bit of time.
Yeah,
Nanelia
overhears this entire thing, by the way. And is like, what? So, Dr. Hephaestus commands the android attendants that are wandering around. There's a lot of android attendants, by the way.
There's just dudes knocking around.
Yeah, they're literally just kind of standing there. To go and, like, take Shad to Nanelia's room, which turns out it's just that little workshop. Which, I don't know, I feel like if I had a bedroom, it wouldn't be in the same room with all the disembodied androids and, like, shit, but okay.
She's just kinky like that.
I guess so. Nanelia is there, has a conversation with Shad about, like, oh yeah, your planet's doomed, so maybe it's safer if you stay here and you know, that sort of thing. And we cut back to Dr. Hephaestus, who's like, prepare the conjugal suite, and I'm like, oh dear Christ, no.
Like, he's just one step away from going, and inform my daughter to prepare for a dicking.
Yeah. Christ.
He is so into getting his daughter to Bone Town. It is outrageous.
Yep.
Like, maybe like they can have a conversation before you hurl them into your fuck room that you have built.
Because you have a fuck room, apparently. Like,
I mean, big space station. You know, you've got all these rooms for different things. I guess you're gonna have a fuck room.
Yeah, I guess. Christ. Cut back to Shad and Nanelia having a soppy conversation about how beautiful life is and staying safely hidden away isn't really living at all, and this gets through to Nanelia, who tells her android attendant to walk into the force field covering the door to short it out. That robot fucking dies, right?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. This allows Shad to make a getaway. And he, like, asks Nanelia, hey, just come with me, it's fine. Like, we can go on an adventure and shit. She refuses, and he takes the android's gun and fucking legs it back to the ship and leaves.
I think it was actually his gun, because he has a holster
shit,
that was missing.
Right, okay, yeah.
It is his gun.
Okay, thank you. For some reason, because of the whole Akira thing, I didn't think he'd have a gun until then. But you're
I presume because
right.
Because it's the same colour as his spaceship, I presume it's like Zed's old gun.
Okay.
I am reading between the lines here a bit.
Yes, you are.
Or possibly it says it explicitly in the movie, but I wasn't paying attention for an eighth of a second, and so that is now a piece of information that I'm not privy to.
Yeah. Like, as the ship leaves, we cut back to Nanelia, who's like, fuck it. And then gets in a ship and leaves as well.
It's very accurate. Yeah, just like, fuck it.
The two converse. And Nanelia is sent off to the Lambda sector, where Shad will meet her later.
Nanelia to the cause brings a computer, which is very exciting.
Yes, she brings a computer.
That is how we are going to defeat the big evil guy is with a computer.
Fuck.
I do quite like the line of when Nell, the AI, is talking to Shad about her. He's like, she's a very interesting form, Nell. The use of the term form in this movie
it's fucking weird.
It never stops sounding a little bit creepy.
Yeah.
And weird.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of like it because it does feel, like, awkward and weird and makes it feel a bit more alien, but
it feels alien and weird and kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah. It does its job in both a good and bad way.
Yes. Meanwhile, I've actually got this in full caps. I've done this like 8 times in this probably, because there's a lot of cuts to different people all the time. Meanwhile, on the evil ship, Sadar, second in command, informs them that the ultimatum given to another planet, of more than likely the same deal they gave to the Akir, has been answered. The planet Umatil has sent back Sadar's emissary in a little bag.
Yeah.
Because the emissary is now just some dust.
They like just fucking desiccated him.
Yep. At this point, I have noted, also apparently the Malmori are all mutants, just, FYI. Christ. Sadar, in a rage, throws the powdered emissary in his commander's face and orders...
Full-on pocket sand moment.
Yeah. And orders the entire planet of Umatil wiped out. We cut back to Nell, and the ship is approaching. It has a Confederate flag on it.
Yeah, it does. This was made in 1980.
Yes.
Let's just say
people had a... I am not casting judgment on this film for having that. It's just like... No. This seems really out of place in this space opera.
Yeah, from like a modern perspective, it's a bit awkward, but yeah, it is like this is the person on board is the only character in this entire thing who is actually from Earth.
Yeah,
which does mean we
to
do
put
establish
it into some like perspective. Like again, I am not casting judgment about the Confederate flag being in this. It was the fucking 80s. This would be like if you were watching Star Wars, and one of the X-Wings had a Union Jack on it. You'd be like, that's fucking out of place.
The weird part is that it does firmly establish that this exists within our universe.
Yes.
This
Which
is like...
it didn't need to do.
Yeah. But they really wanted this character, so they had to. They I suppose.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if it does skeeve me out every single time I see that fucking flag.
So this space trucker ship is being fired upon by small craft who are called jackers.
Yep.
The aim of these jackers is to kill the pilot and steal the ship's cargo. Inside the cargo ship, we see a cowboy reclining in his chair at the cockpit, hat cocked over his eyes, cigarette and drink in hand. He's played by
the George Peppard who played Hannibal in the 18th.
That's where I recognise him from. Thank you.
Yeah.
There are some people who are like legit actors in this movie.
Oh yeah. There's Neil, like a lot of the main cast. You sort of look at them and you go, I recognise you, but I'm not sure where from. Especially because there were like a lot of actors who were quite prolific at a certain time. That's before we were born.
And then like Hollywood kind of ground them up and spat them out.
As is its way.
Or maybe not as much with some of them. Like John Saxon, for those who don't know, was Nancy's dad in Nightmare on Elm Street. I always confuse those movies for some reason. And he was in Black Christmas as well. He was like a character actor type. But yes, he begins. The cowboy guy begins singing, which is great. And as Nell approaches the cowboy ship, they receive a distress call. The most non-committal distress call ever. This is Space Cowboy SOS Mayday, and I believe it went something like help, and that was it.
It feels like it's a trap.
Right?
Also, I love the fact that his name is canonically Space Cowboy.
Uh-huh.
Like, at no point does he turn around and go, oh yeah, by the way, my name's Greg or whatever.
He's Space Cowboy. That's his name.
Space Cowboy is his name. You can call him Cowboy if you're nasty, but
Cowboy
his full
shit
name
is
is
his
Space
game.
Cowboy. Also, I'm very disappointed. No one in the movie ever says, see ya, Space Cowboy.
That would be fucking weird if that happened. Holy shit. Shad and Nell debate helping the stricken space cowboy, because Shad has never taken a life before. This comes up again. Because it's like, yeah, maybe sometimes you need to hurt, like, bad people to help other people. But no, I don't want to take any lives. It's fucking centrist. So, gets controls of the guns again as Nell flies the ship on autopilot. And our hero, once again, buckles under pressure and doesn't want to shoot the enemy ship from behind. So Nell's like, fuck this, and does it for him because Nell gets shit done.
And I like how when she does that, and Shad is like, wait, a machine is not supposed to kill like an organic without like like an organic saying they're allowed to do it, and she's just like, yeah, but that's a damn stupid rule.
Yep.
Nell's great. I like
Nell's
Nell.
great. Shad, as I've put it here, at this point, finally full of adrenaline and killer instinct, Shad takes it upon himself to control the guns and destroy the other two ships.
Thus starting his bloodlust that he retains for the rest of the movie.
Yes. The two ships dock, and Shad and Space Cowboy has a nice conversation. His name is Space Cowboy. He likes old westerns.
He's also really sweaty to an uncomfortable level.
And his hat is terrible.
It's a terrible hat.
It's really battered and misshapen. This fucking movie! Shad, speaking to this cowboy guy, he's like, hey, do you want to help us with the thing on my planet? And Space Cowboy's like, hey, you're fighting Sador, right? Sador's never lost a war. He never backs down. He has the biggest dick of all, and you don't have a snowball's chance in hell. To which Shad sort of replied, what's a snowball? It's like, okay.
Yeah.
During this whole conversation, Nell cuts in to say, hey, Sador's fleet has just arrived at Umatille. So they put it on screen to watch as an entire planet gets burned to ash.
Well, it's like he uses the stellar converter on it, which seems to like turn a planet into a sun, or at the very least convert a living planet into a dead one. It's not hugely clear.
No, it's not, because it just glows bright white, but what I'm guessing that is everything burning, and then it would just become like a blackened ball.
Possibly, yeah.
That's the way my head went with it, so,
You have to meet this movie halfway with some of its elements.
Yeah, halfway at like a minimum.
You write all the bits that it doesn't feel like telling you.
Mm-hmm. As it turns out, Cowboy was heading to Umatille with his cargo to deliver, as he puts it himself, 10,000 Mac Laser 4s and 40,000 charge snides. Just so you know, these are guns. But the goods are already paid for. Cowboy doesn't have the fuel to take them back. So, like, hey, Shad, do you want all of these guns? And then Shad convinces Cowboy to go to a cure with him and teach everyone how to use the guns in a scene we never see.
It's implied.
It's implied. Meanwhile, on Nanelia's ship, alarms are blaring. She appears to be heading into some sort of anomaly made out of a kaleidoscope.
Yeah, she gets attacked by space glitter, it's fine.
Yeah. The turbulence from this kaleidoscopic attack knocks her out. Another vessel turns up and destroys the anomaly. It turns out it's a living thing called a Zyme. Talk about it in a minute. And then, like, because it's got this ship has a big mouth, it just swallows Nanelia's craft whole. And then she wakes up.
I actually really like the design of this ship,
yes,
I'll be honest.
I do as well.
It's quite cool.
Nanelia wakes up in restraints hung from the ceiling, so her hands are hung from the ceiling. And a lizard man, a barbarian, and two big brain people from the Captain Pike pilot of the original series are all staring at her.
Yep. This whole thing is like apparently a Moby Dick reference, but don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I got that. The Barbarian's fucking so out of place. It's great. It turns out these people are Zymers. They hunt Zymes and cook them down for their protein. The kaleidoscope anomaly is a Zyme. Cool. Lizard Man introduces himself as Cayman, because of course he does. The two big brains are Urim and Thummim of the Kelvin species. They get close to Nenelia and begin burning her because they communicate through thermal energy.
Which is an idea that is both very silly, but they also do a couple of fun things with it throughout the show. Well, the movie, so like I'm okay with it.
I just want to note now, I am on page 2 of 6 of my notes. Enjoy, everyone.
It's fine.
The Barbarian, who is completely fucking silent, is introduced as Quopeg, who is Cayman's Kunar. I choose to believe that means life mate.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Cayman then is like, oh yeah, by the way, we're going to sell you, because, we need money.
Doesn't he say something like, I'll sell you for, either into slavery or for protein, whatever pays more.
Yeah. Nenelia begins, bargaining with him. Hey, we need mercenaries on Akir to help. Oh, please. And Cayman's like, yeah, but the protein thing might pay more. And then she mentions the name Sador. Everything stops. Cayman hears the name, has Quopeg cut her restraints, so, she's free, and is like, yeah, sure, I'll fucking help you.
Yep, gonna go kill this guy.
Also,
we'll
repair your ship. So you're good to head to your rendezvous point. We'll meet you there. Cool. Meanwhile, on the Nell, they're suddenly being pursued by a big shiny UFO.
Like it looks like one of the UFOs from Jerry Anderson's UFO.
Yes. But it's glowing bright blue UFO. I want to point out, we didn't get a preamble into this sudden pursuit. It just cuts and we're there.
There's a bit of that in this. Just stuff happens sometimes.
They're stuck in some sort of tractor beam, so Shad's like, yeah, escape is not an option, so fuck it, reverse course and just ram the ship. As you do.
Normal.
Yep. As the Nell gets ever closer to crashing into this UFO, suddenly Shad finds himself in I'm just going to read this verbatim from what I've written here. Shad finds himself in a white room with a bunch of weirdos gathered around a TARDIS console.
Yeah, accurate.
Okay, I'm glad. These people are painted completely white with terrible skull caps that you can see the seams of, and literally have an eye painted on their forehead.
Yeah, they could have made a prosthetic that could have sat there, but no, they just painted it instead.
Yep. Shad threatens them with the gun to get any of them to talk and explain what the fuck is going on, and they instead psychically force him to point the gun at his own head. Shad's like, okay, maybe let's just take a step back for a minute. In a moment where I do find Shad to be quite charming in his role, because he's very good at being that, okay, let's just take a second, sort of thing.
Okay, maybe we got off on the wrong foot here.
Yeah, exactly. So before anything worse happens, there's 5 of them, right? The 5 alien weirdos release their psychic grip. Yeah. They introduce themselves as Nestor. They are all Nestor. They are facets of a single consciousness and share all experiences.
Yeah, basically their entire race has one consciousness.
Yes.
And even though they are all individual people walking around, they're all the same person.
Yeah, they are all facets of Nestor.
Yeah. Yeah.
All hail Nestor. They actually wish to help Shad and the Akir because they seek new experiences so they don't get bored to death.
basically they're like, yeah, we'll come and join your war,
Yep.
for shits and giggles.
And they give Shad a blue drink, which he's just like, okay, cool, and starts drinking from, which is...
I would not drink a random blue liquid that
was given to you by 5 weirdos huddling around a fucking TARDIS console.
Yeah. Like, at best, it's like fucking bantha milk. Like, that's the best case scenario there.
Yep.
And even then, I'm not sure I'd want to go down that path. I don't know how... blue milk probably doesn't taste great. But,
Blue milk, I always imagined as being kind of chunky as well, like it's halfway towards becoming cheese.
That is a thought I didn't need.
Enjoy, this is my revenge. After this lovely meeting with the Nestor, we cut to the Malmori monitoring ship with its 2 mutants aboard. They're creeping on women having some sort of ceremony on the planet's surface and are like, fuck it, crash the party and beam one of the women up because ew.
Yeah, this bit and what happens, the sort of conclusion of this is sort of just mean-spirited and pointlessly cruel and adds nothing to the movie.
Yeah. It's clearly like, oh yeah, remember, these guys are the bad guys, and it's like, we know. We know they are.
It just, I don't know, it's just that kind of stuff. I'm just like, well, it's sort of goofy silliness, like, for the rest of it, and then it just has this bit, and you're like, oh, this is actually really gross.
Yeah. It was a different time.
Yeah, it just kind of takes me out of, like, kind of having a bit of fun with a silly movie.
Yeah. On to happier subjects, kind of. Nell and Shad arrive at Nascosto, I think. Everyone pronounces the name differently. Which is a planet with an underground city that is a hive of scum and villainy. They'll definitely find some mercenaries here. Shad, this planet actually, the surface of the planet, is covered in radiation storms and bad shit, so the city's underground away from, all the badness, and it's a good way of keeping away the tourists and everything. Shad finds a bunch of manholes to get into the city, fails to fully lift one, falls over, and crashes through the surface like a fucking dumbass.
Because Shad is the hero we all need.
Yes, and into what appears to be an abandoned cantina of sorts.
My favourite aspect of the cantina...
I actually have here in my notes, Webb, leave space here for Webb to describe the dial-a-date.
Okay, so first I want to say that there is literally a drug dispensing machine.
Yes.
I believe it is actually just labelled drug dispensing machine, and
I think it's like dial-a-drug or something.
It just gives him free drugs.
Yep.
And there's like weird dissonant space jazz music.
Yes, because he crashes into the space jazz jukebox.
And it's like it's all cobwebs and everything's kind of fucked up. And then he goes to this machine that's like, dial a date, I think is written on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it cycles through like pictures of a few women, and Shad he makes himself presentable because apparently he finds this like sex worker vending machine, and he's like, well, I'm definitely going to use this. Like,
yep.
And so he selects one, and then it opens, and then what is either as like an undead person or a dusty sex robot?
No, I think it's a cryogenically frozen person.
Possibly?
But it's went a bit wrong, and they're just rotted and desiccated now.
Yeah, I couldn't quite... I wasn't really sure what they were going with.
Yeah, and Shad kind of just backs away, and it's never brought up again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as it turns out, this planet has been abandoned for many years, save for one man who's sitting on a throne surrounded by treasure and firing warning shots at Shad.
As you know what, I think we all want to be in that position in our life. Just sitting on a throne with a gun, just lethargically like sitting by your literal piles of treasure.
Yep. And is also a well-known actor.
Yes, it's Robert Vaughn. Again, ask your parents. Although he was in Coronation Street a few years ago.
Was
apparently.
He?
Yes.
Huh.
I mean, I think he's... I'm pretty sure he's dead now, but like, yeah.
Yeah.
One of his... it was one of his, like... I think it was his last television role was on Coronation Street, apparently, which is a British soap, if you're not British, and it's terrible. and it is a waste of human endeavour that I despise.
Okay. The man is a mercenary and killer who has no moral quandaries about anything, provided he's paid. And he waxes poetic about it. At this point, he's so hated, and he's got so many bounties on his head that he can't do anything with his riches, and he can't go to any planet. And when Shad's like, hey, Akir, my planet, we don't have much, but you could have a good meal and a place to stay, and he's like, fuck it, I'm in. His name is Gelt. It comes up later.
Yeah. It's I do kind of just like the idea of just this guy who's just like, all I want is, shelter and a meal. That sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah. He's like, oh yeah, it'll be a place to lie low where no one's going to try and shoot me. Because he has this like legit moment where he's like, I don't sleep often. When I do, it's with my back against a wall.
Yeah, there's like... I could see you could totally do some interesting things with like exploring the backstory of this character and how he got to where he is.
Yeah.
Because he's...
The prequel movie. Gelt, A Battle Beyond the Stars story.
Yeah.
As Shad and Nell leave the planet, they are attacked by a tiny, teeny, tiny ship that is literally just trolling Shad. It outmaneuvers them and then gets behind them and fires a blank at their engines just to show that they win. And then they receive a communication from them.
You know what I like is how Shad like previously was like very gun shy, but then now he's got a taste for blood.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he wants to fucking kill the person. Yeah, he wants to kill the person on this ship. He's like, no, I'm going to try and shoot them. And Nell's like, no, leave them alone. They're just fucking with you. And Shad's like,
literally just fucking with you.
I must kill them. Like, okay, Shad. Okay, you've killed... And even Nell's like, yeah, you kill a couple of jackers and now you think you're fucking, like, hot shit. Like...
Yeah. So the other ship is piloted by, when this communication comes in, by Saint Exman of the Valkyrie, who wishes to join the fight against the Malmori. I'm going to continue reading this, and then, you can jump in. Wib can now describe Saint Exman. Shad is generally annoyed by all this and tells her to fuck off. Shad is a sore loser and a bit of a tit. So, Wib!
Okay.
Because this is why you wanted to watch the movie, motherfucker. You're getting this shit.
Okay, so Saint Exman is I've forgotten the actress's name. But she was a relatively famous like B-movie actress, and she is dressed like a mid-90s Warhammer Fantasy character with a huge headdress and I think the most prominent cleavage I have seen in a movie outside of literal pornography.
It was Sybil Danning, by the way.
Sybil Danning, yes. Just, those things are just propped up front and center, and she's like lying back with a huge headdress thing on. And as a fun fact, in the TV edit for this movie, they literally matte painted in a like console in front of her tits because they are just out there, and the thing that's covering and like there's like a kind of lattice work thing that's covering them, and it barely covers them.
Yeah.
Apparently, yes, the wardrobe department did have trouble keeping that up.
I can imagine,
and it used to pop off quite a bit.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised.
No, neither am I.
Yeah, it's one of those scenes where you look at that and you go, I imagine that, that this outfit featured a lot in awakening moments for a lot of people watching this in 1980. Like, there's a lot of, like, sort of kids who watch that and then they got older and went, oh, yeah, that's the reason why I like that.
Yeah, yeah. And, yeah, the headdress is... How did you put it?
She looks like a Warhammer Fantasy character from the mid-90s.
Yeah, for sure. Just, oh, God. Okay. The party then the party as in every ship and every random character that we've now met meets in the Landa system. cue the funny small talk between Space Cowboy, Gelt being overly grim, and Nestor being generally just kind of friendly.
I feel I should mention that when Saint X-Men offers to join earlier, or like in the scene just before, because she's like, I want to join your fight because like I'm part of the Valkyria and we've got to go out and like do adventures, and Shad is like, no, fuck off. Like, yeah. Even though she is literally offering to help him and has shown that she is a good pilot, she's like, no, fuck off. But she follows anyway. Because...
Yeah, my next note is, turns out Saint X-Men has followed them anyway.
Yeah. I can't help but actually like Saint X-Men because she just doesn't give a fuck. She's just going to do what she wants to do.
So now that everyone is together, I'm not going to list every character, but you know who I'm talking about. They head for a cure. They're then at a cure. It just cuts to them being at the planet.
I do actually like how all of the ships for the different crew, or the different members of the group, are all really unique. Like, they all have their own distinct aesthetic.
It looks like a Destiny strike.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool. Also, I'll quickly explain this thing, because before they land, they encounter the ship who had kidnapped the woman.
Oh, no. I've got this. It's here.
Okay, good.
Don't worry, I didn't skip this.
Oh, good.
The Malmori monitoring ship notices our fleet of heroes coming to a cure. The one that's still in the pilot seat shouts to the back of the ship to be like, hey, dude, forget the woman and get over here because holy shit, we're in trouble. And then they try and run off. Gelt begins chasing them down and is just keeping fucking pace with them the entire time. The captured woman appears and sabotages the controls of the Malmori ship, so they begin to slow down, and Gelt just ices them with stone cold efficiency.
Yeah, so this is the thing that I meant about how that bit, because the way in which everything is shot and people adjusting their clothes and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, that woman was being assaulted. And then she just dies, and it's like, wow, that bit is just so bleak.
That bit feels like it's from a different movie.
Yeah, it's just so incredibly bleak in the middle of this movie.
Yeah, we are not passing judgment on a movie that has that sort of thing in it. Dark subject matter is dark subject matter, we get it. However, it's really out of place in this film.
Yeah, it just doesn't belong here, and it's... I mean, there's arguments to be made about how much it belongs in most things, but I've yet to see a piece of media where it made things better. But
this is true.
It is just so out of place and just so bleak. I was just like, it is. So, you know, when you see something and it just means that it takes a while for you to get back into the vibe of the rest of the movie, because that kind of took you out of it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Did not like that bit. Did not like it.
Yep. They land, our party of heroes land on the surface and get a really awkward reception before everyone gets to work.
Yeah, they kind of land down and no one comes out to greet them. They're just like, oh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They begin to, work out a plan. Nanelia sets up a warning system to keep an eye out for the fleet. They decide that they will need to destroy the stellar converter to, basically weaken the plan of Sador.
The one interesting thing is they do mention that, like, to fire the stellar converter, and indeed fire any weapon, you have to lower the part of the shield that's behind. Yep. Which I think is an interesting touch, because, like, lots of sci-fi just ignores that.
Yeah.
With the exception of I believe canonically, when a droideka in Star Wars, like, the reason why you see its arms move in and out of its shield is not because whoever animated it that was an oversight, which is 100% the real reason. But it's because it puts its thing out so it can fire, because if it kept its arms inside the shield, then it'd fire, and then the gunshots would just fire inside the little bubble it makes. Apparently.
And in Star Trek, there's a whole thing about shield polarity, I believe. Anyway. Yeah. The other, the Akir civilians who are now ready to fight, or beginning to prepare to fight, used the weird crystal we saw earlier being used as that was an alarm, to vibrate the earth and dig trenches.
Yeah, it's like a weird musical tool thing that can just dig perfect trenches.
Emits a painful fucking tone and makes completely perfect square trenches.
I mean, the other alternative here is that the movie spends 10 minutes watching the Akira dig trenches, so I'm down for it.
Yeah. It's also great just to get some miniature shots of like the ground reverberating and then, you know, bits of it crumbling away.
Yeah, I don't think it really made it like really harped on this, but like pretty much all the miniature work in this is pretty great. Like,
yeah, for the most part, but until they start reusing footage all the time, it's great.
Yeah, I mean, it is a Roger Corman movie, you know.
Yeah, they need to cut costs somewhere.
I think basically everything, like when it comes to like the special effects and like the ships moving around and stuff, they're all pretty fun. Like they're not for given its time period, you know, they're not up to like A New Hope standards. But few things are at that point in time, you know.
And like Corman being a small time exploitation film isn't the right word, but like cheap B movie stuff.
Like it's something. This movie cost something silly, like £2 million to make. Like it's not very much.
Yeah.
And like I really think the only time that the special effects start getting real bad is like when they start having like the like space battles, and that's less to do with the special effects.
We will get there.
Yeah, it's more just to do with the way it's directed. It's just not very well and like edited together. Just it doesn't work very well. But that's not that's not James Cameron's fault. That wasn't his department.
Mm-hmm. We also have a scene of Saint X-Men and Nanelia bonding.
Oh, can I quote
while
this?
talking about sex? It's uncomfortable and weird. Yeah, please, if you have the quote.
I have the direct quote. I would not hear this and not write this full thing down.
Sybil Danning, everyone, can deliver this fucking dialogue without cracking up. I respect it.
She turns to Nanelia. I'm supposed to pronounce her name. I could do wonders with that boy. I would recharge his capacitors, stimulate his solenoid, tingle, dingle, dangle, prangle his transistors. You know, sex.
Yeah.
And the thing is then, Nanelia like responds with like, oh, I can't imagine what that must be like. And Saint X-Men grabs her by the arm and is like, stick with me and you'll get an education. And the way that the scene then ends and the way they're looking at each other, I can only interpret that as they then go off to have the most mind-blowing sex any two sentient beings have ever had.
Fair.
That is the only way I can interpret that. Also, just before that happens, you see that the cowboy has a scotch dispenser on his belt.
I forgot, yeah, he's got a belt-mounted scotch, soda, and ice dispenser.
And you know, I don't even like scotch, but you know what?
You gotta respect it.
I gotta respect that.
Also, like, the lady that is talking to Space Cowboy about his belt-mounted dispenser is important later, kind of.
Yeah, he's kind of like the cowboy and this one lady are like one of the Akira are sort of kind of falling in love
or something.
Yeah. Yep. It's not a big thing, but it is a thing.
It's a thing. Okay, aboard Sadar... Meanwhile, on Sadar's flagship, they discover they've lost contact with the fighter monitoring the cure. Sadar is surprised and does not believe that anyone would come to the aid of Akira if they'd have to fight face-painted John Saxon and his mutant army.
I do like how when Sadar is talking about his troops, he is just like... Why are my troops all idiots? And it's like, well, I mean, it looks like you, like, have made them or something, so this is kind of on you.
Next up, we have a cringeworthy scene of Nanelia asking to bone down with the Shad. They then
Does your species have kissing?
Yeah, they then kiss. And from my notes here I have, at this point I walked away from the screen for a bit because I fucking hate these scenes.
It's it is the scene that you are expecting, and it plays out exactly as you expect.
It is the scene of a movie from this era that you're like, oh god, oh it's so soppy, no. We cut.
Well, I mean, you know, like Nelia's like she's well into it. You know, like she's just got out. She's got the afterglow of that mind-blowing sex she had with Saint X-Men, and she's like,
and yeah, Shad's really going to fucking measure up to that.
Well, I guess she's like, well, I mean, you know, I think I'm being paired up with Shad. This is what the script says, so you know. I might as well engage in this while I'm in a good mood, you know. Well, I've still got a bit of the afterglow going.
Mm-hmm. We cut directly from that entire awkward scene to the trenches.
Yes!
Where Space Cowboy plays the harmonica, and the two Kelvins sit together and radiate heat for everyone like they're a fucking campfire. In fact, Space Cowboy is actually cooking hot dogs using them.
I legit love that. It is so good. I look, and then like Nestor's like, oh, what's that? It's like, oh, it's a hot dog. And so he passes him one of the sausages to Nestor, who then like hands it to the Nestor behind him, who then takes a bite, and they all start chewing at the same time.
Yeah.
Which is fun. It's
fun.
A fun little scene.
Yeah. You know, during all, we get Nestor being like able to discern every ingredient in the hot dog. Space Cowboy's like, yeah, that's called meat where I come from. Great. And we cut to two children approaching Gelt.
Which feels like a mistake at the best of times.
Yeah, but who is sitting like away from everyone else and just cleaning his gun. The children ask him if he is a bad man, and he just says yes.
Yeah, I am. What I like is that then they're like, were you bad when you were little? And he just responds, I was never that little.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Gelt. I think there is like a definite...
There's a story there.
There's a story there, and I presume, like, you know, who like the writer... I forgot to write down who the writer's name was.
Shit.
But, like, I presume that, like, you know, there was a... You know, they had an idea for the backstory of this character, because he is a bad person, but he's very aware that he's a bad person, and... Yeah.
I think he's completely aware that he's, like, a scumbag.
Yeah, and there's something interesting about the little allusions we get to the fact that there is definitely reasons why he is what he is.
Yeah.
It's just cool.
Mm-hmm. So, the crystal alarm tower thing, we only get close-ups of this crystal, so I don't know what the fuck it is. Starts blaring. The Malmori are approaching. Everyone runs off to their battle stations or getting their ships to go and fly up to attack the Malmori. And Cowboy's like, well, time for me to leave. He goes over to the lady that, you know, he's in love with or something. And is like, hey, come with me. And it's at this point he finds out that the alarm system only works within a very short range, so there's no way he's going to be able to escape.
Like, shit.
He then dispenses a large amount of scotch into his glass. And the woman's like, hey, you didn't put any, like, soda or ice in that. And he just downs the whole thing. He's like, yep, I know. Now, space battle time. I have notes.
Oh, that's good, because literally all my notes say is just space battle happens, shoot bangs.
Good. So,
because I cannot the way in, like, the intricacies of the space battles I cannot keep in my head because
they're a mess. Yeah. Let me just run through this quickly then, or as best I can, and just tell me to shut the fuck up if you have anything to add.
Okay.
Saint X-Men leads the vanguard of ships in their mission to, I guess, attack the flagship. Fighters are launched, and a dogfight full of the same shots over and over is used. In X-Men lures the fighters into an ambush when she goes behind an asteroid. Gelt and Shad appear and begin their attack, and everything blows up. Kamen begins strafing runs in the flagship to weaken its shields. 3 fighters head for Gelt's fighter, and he just destroys them immediately because Gelt is a stone cold killer. Sadar's flagship fires some nukes, like just literally nukes, at Nell, which have locked on to his heat signature, I guess. Shad makes the daring maneuver of flying towards the evil flagship's engines, so the nukes lose their lock on Nell and lock onto the... You get the idea, you've seen it in a million movies. At least I think that's what happens. It's hard to tell with how this bit is shot. Gelt eventually gets hit and loses power and crashes on Akir.
Yep.
At this point, the Malmori landing craft have begun deploying troops on the ground. Cowboy rallies the Akira to fight because he's fucking stuck here now. Fighting his fears, people die on both sides. The Akira use like rock falls, big polystyrene rocks. It's great to
What
separate.
I do really like how the like power packs for the laser guns they're using are like a big thing on their back, so it makes everyone look like they're playing Laser Quest. They also just kind of, they don't like fight in a way that anyone would normally fight. They just all stand at the opposite ends of
This
a
is
trench.
very of the time gunfights.
They just stand opposite each other and they all shoot, and then everyone dies, and then more people just fill in.
Also,
no one hides. No one uses cover.
Yeah, the Malmori combat gear, some of them just look like they have like Dalek heads on.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they use rock slides to like separate the Malmori so they can take them out piecemeal. Our boy Space Cowboy got some Malmori with a Bowie knife. They have green blood, by the way.
I described it as goblin green blood in my notes.
It is very goblin green, actually. You're right.
Yeah.
The Malmori, or an officer of the Malmori, calls for a retreat to make way for the sonic tank.
The sonic tank that makes people bleed out of their ears.
I did know. Yeah, I've noted that. Like, the sonic weapons disable the defenders, some of them just pissing blood from their ears. Like, it's not like, oh no, they've got a little trickle of blood in their hands. It's just like spraying out.
It's pretty bad.
Yep. The tide has turned, everything's bad. However, the Kelvin are here to help because they don't have ears.
Which is like a weird little thing, like they're like, oh well, why aren't they going to get hurt by the sonic tank? And Nestor's like, well, they don't have ears. And then you look at the design and go, yeah, they don't have ears, do they? Huh. And they communicate by heat, so they wouldn't need ears.
Yeah. They ambush the vehicle and like superheat it, and it begins to explode, and then 2 Malmori soldiers come up behind them, so they just turn around and burn them to death and vaporize them. It's like, where the fuck have you been for this whole movie? I'd like to note, actually, at this point, the costumes of the Kelvin are fucking weird because they're clearly like fluorescent white coats.
Yeah, so then they can shine a light on them to make them glow.
Yeah.
It's a clever bit of costume.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a good bit of fun, but it's like when you get to the point of like the sonic tank, it's like they're clearly like shooting red light onto them to give a glow look, to kind of give the idea of heat, which is nice. You know, these people all die. The Kelvins win that part of the battle, and then just immediately collapse, and they are cold. And it's like, oh no, they have used up all of their energy. Get them to a protein tank.
now,
I'm going to guess back to tank type deal, but who the fuck knows in this movie?
I assume, but you don't see them again for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, they may have just died.
I think it feels like they decided later on in production, like after they shot this scene, that they were going to die, or there was a shot of them later on and it hit the cutting room floor or something.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure you don't see them again after this, and they're treated as if they died.
Yep.
Unless protein tank is literally like a big vat they throw them in to just reconstitute bodies into useful protein. And they were just, quick, get these bodies to the protein tank. These motherfuckers are going to be tasty as shit. Pre-cooked protein. We don't get that very often.
Christ. So, with the tank out the way, the Akira can begin their attack anew. Or, I mean, those that are left and not pissing blood out their ears. Quopeg, you know, that one barbarian that has been in the background most of the time, impales 2 Malmori with a single spear.
As you do.
Yep. We cut to a shot of Old Man Zed beating the shit out of one of the soldiers with the mace head on his cane and then gets gunned down.
Yeah, I can't help but feel that since Zed is portrayed as being blind, that somebody should probably... The actor is trying to play him blind.
Oh, fucking hell!
Well, either that, or he was being directed by someone holding like a hamburger on like a fishing rod, and it was just out of frame, and he was watching that the whole time. Because he's not focusing on anything, so he's trying. I interpret it that he's supposed to be blind, and so if he's just an old blind guy, who is letting him wander around a battlefield?
Yeah. As Zed dies, Nell receives a transmission. Basically just senses it through the Force, but with technological means, and relays the news to Shad. We then cut to Shad on the ground in a triage centre, so, like, you know, okay.
Yeah, he just left the space battle for a moment. They didn't need him.
Yeah. I guess that point of the space battle is dealt with for the moment.
Yeah.
Saint... Oh, we should have mentioned, from the first time we meet Saint X-Men to the planning phase, she has the same outfit with the big headdress, and then she changes into a worse outfit, almost.
It is an outfit that is like... So imagine if you wrapped someone up like a mummy, but you left half of their skin bare.
And not like in a sexy way, although it is, because the tethers are there, but also like just in an awkward way.
It's a weird outfit. It's a weird outfit, but again, I can't. I see things like that, and I go, that brought things out in people.
Oh yeah, and again, like props to Sybil Danning, because I hope she got paid.
As I say, I legit find her character quite fun because she just don't give a fuck. She
does not get it. She's like, oh, this is a dire situation, but fighting is fun. It's like, oh no.
She's like, oh hey, did you see how I did that super cool shit? And Shad's like, people are dying.
Yeah, that's the bit that I was about to talk about. Is like, yeah, she's like, did you see me being all cool and getting those people behind the asteroid and managing to get one of the fighters to crash into it? It's so good. And Shad's like, I am literally, like, wrist deep in someone else's guts right now.
It is. It is. She's a fun character to have around.
Mm-hmm. Shad moves on and finds finds Gelt being cared for. His face is all burnt and nasty looking. He has a few lines about, oh, I would get killed in the backwater like this, blah blah blah, and he actually Gelt cries, finally showing a little bit of emotion before he passes away.
R.I.P.
Okay. Yep.
F's in chat.
The bit I did like here is that Shad commands some of the Akira to prepare a full meal for Gelt so it can be buried with him. As was their bargain, he gets a hot meal and a place to hide.
Yeah, again, a nice little moment. I think that's the thing I find like a little frustrating about the movie is that it's not good, but like it has little moments here and there where I can see that a much better movie could have been made from this.
Yeah. At some point during the whole battle kerfuffle, one of the Nestor allowed themselves to be captured, so like one facet of Nestor, as in one of the actors, allows themselves to be captured so that the rest of the Nestor can, like, spy on the ship. Like the Sadar and his ship.
Yeah, I presume it was, like, during the land invasion. He just kind of wandered out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It happened off screen.
Sadar's like, hey, how do you take to torture? It's like, Nestor's like, not well, we have terrible pain tolerance.
Yeah, just like, no. What I like is that then there's like, he introduces the Nestor
Daco.
to his torturer, and he's like, oh, he's amazing at torture. He's so good at keeping people alive whilst under immense pain. And that Nestor just responds, it's good to have skills.
Yeah. Nestor are just really nice.
I like Nestor.
And yeah, the torture begins. Nestor's arm is cut off, and they immediately die because I guess their pain receptors were overloaded and they just died.
You see the other Nestors on the ground, and they're like, "Yeah, no, it turns out, we don't have a high tolerance for pain."
Yeah. Sador does not care that person died, and is like, just give me the arm. And then we see that we finally see Sador's hand, and it's all looking gross.
Yeah, because he's been like Napoleoning it the whole time.
Yeah.
Like it's been tucked into his jacket.
So yeah, the arm gets grafted on. Sador's very happy, and then is like, we do need to fix, like, in a genuine scene where John Saxon is just having a comedic moment. It's like, we do need to fix this though, and holds up one of his gloves, which is 5-fingered, and the Nestor have like 2 fingers and a thumb.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It's
this is great.
My glove doesn't fit anymore.
And then the Nestor take control of Sador's Nestor hand and try and make him slit his own throat.
Which is like, it feels very uncharacteristic because of how nice the Nestor have been for the most part.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we're just going to slit this guy's throat. Like, Jesus.
Before they manage to do the deed. They do actually manage to nick his neck, and we see the green blood again. Sador commands Daco to just cut the arm off. Nope, fuck this arm, it's not good. Defective, get it away.
This also does explain that weird line from earlier about, Sador is now wearing his foot.
Yeah. So yeah, we're at the point now where we can say I'm pretty sure the reason that that Sador was invading the Akira was to get spare parts.
Yeah, but that doesn't line up with some of the other things he does.
I know.
Why would he, if that's his reason for conquering, why does he keep just blowing places up and removing his source of body parts?
Because they disobeyed him. And he's also like a despot, so,
Why go after Ikea? It's such a nowhere. It's like a city.
It's a nowhere place with people that aren't fighters.
But it doesn't matter to him if they're fighters.
But it means, like, I'm guessing, and especially because he has solar power as well, they're not, like, they haven't been affected by radiation, shall we say.
Okay. You're doing a good job at writing the bits of the movie that they didn't show us.
I am doing my best! This is what happens when you've watched the fucking movie for 3 hours. Things seem grim at this point. Shad doesn't know what to do, and then we immediately cut to Shad aboard the Nell preparing to take off. Okay.
It also should be mentioned that for the rest of the movie, Sador just has one arm now. It's not important, but he just has one arm now.
Yes. Nenelia comes aboard Nell and is like, hey, they have another soppy moment, and Shad admits that, yeah, I'm terrified to go back up there, but, at least we'll be together. And then they do the kissing, and then Nell interrupts, and they tell Nell to shut up, and then they do more kissing. And we cut back to the evil flagship, and while Daco is cauterizing Sador's arm stump, he's commanding his forces to make a full-scale attack. Apparently, the landing was not a full-scale attack.
No, that was just a little bit of a tickle.
Yep.
The sonic tank's a bit of a tickle.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So, Nell, the Nestor UFO, Saint X-Men in her tiny ship and Cayman in the one cool ship, bravely take back or head back into space to engage the fighters and do strafing runs, and it's hard to keep track because there's so much footage that she's used over and over, like one guy hitting a fucking keyboard.
Yeah, it's a little thing that I didn't really know how to address, but like when people are in ships, quite a few of them, like when they're piloting, like Gelt especially, is just kind of just looks like he's just sitting in his office chair, like just going about things, and the mutant guys in the enemy fighters, like they're operating a keyboard that's off to their side with this kind of goblin energy.
Yeah.
That looks like exactly how I imagine people respond to me on Twitter.
Yeah, pretty much. The key, like the one of the Malmori just hitting a single key in the keyboard to fire the guns, you see so many times. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yes, they bravely head to attack the flagship, and Nestor makes a strafing run. As in the Nestor UFO makes a strafing run and gets hit. They spin off out of control and then are killed.
Yep.
So they're gone.
Goodbye, Nestor.
We see the stellar converter is now being deployed. So shit, it's the bad time.
Actually you actually do see Sador, like his like right hand man is like sort of suggests that like he shouldn't be bringing that out yet because he said earlier that he only brings that gun out once all opponents have been destroyed, because it's, you know, unveiling that he has to open his shield, so it makes him weak. So bringing this out mid battle is showing that Sador is angry. He's making mistakes.
We cut back to Akir, and Cowboy is there and meets that one lady again. Did not get her name because it said once. I'm sorry. Kisses her.
If I remember rightly, she is like the only Kira who has a name that's not a single syllable.
Good.
Like I was looking through the cast list and like there's just this long string of just single noises.
Yeah, Shad.
And then her name actually has like a 2-syllable name that I forget.
Yeah. Cowboy kisses that one lady goodbye and gives her his hat and then walks off screen. And yeah, to fire the converter, the forward shield has to be lowered, and this is their chance. Saint X-Men flies just head first into the device, and and lets out a screech.
Yeah, I don't know. It's. I think it's supposed to be like kind of a war chant kind of thing.
Yeah, but it just comes out as a screech.
I cannot replicate the noise that she made. It's a weird scream. It's weird.
At the last second, X-Men deploys the escape pod, which is just like, I think the cockpit just kind of goes and flies off.
Yeah.
She's surrounded by enemy fighters and thus self-destructs and takes all the fighters with her.
It's like, it has been a very enjoyable fight.
And then explodes.
Because there's the whole thing that's been mentioned, like, early on, she's talking to Shad and is like, you know, we'll die in glorious battle, and he's like,
and have a beautiful death and stuff.
Have a beautiful death, and he's like, no death is beautiful, and she's like, you've never seen a Valkyrie fight,
and then
Valkyrie die.
Then she self-destructs, and then Shad's like, oh yeah, that was a beautiful death, and then we cut back to Akira again, and Cowboy is firing up his ship and takes off.
And Saint X-Men's ship did destroy the.
Yes.
Yeah, it did destroy the converter. So yeah, that's just not in play anymore. That's not a thing to worry about.
At least disable it. I think it's damaged, but it doesn't matter. We then cut to Cayman in his ship by himself. Sends out a challenge to Sador, who is trying to run away in his ship, I believe, at this point. And is like taunting him, saying, "Turn back and face me." And Sador's like, hey, what form are you? And Cayman then says, yes, I'm of the Lazuli form. Sador had made their species extinct years ago, but will enjoy dealing with the last of his kind. And then Space Cowboy enters the fray, taking out any fighters in his path. I don't know why this happens.
No, there's just this string of people charging Sador's ship and failing.
Yep. Space Cowboy enters the fray, takes out any fighters in his path, then a bunch of nukes lock onto him, and then he dies. Before, he's sent hurtling back to Akira, and in his final moments, he plays the harmonica before boom.
Yeah.
Then we cut to Lazuli not Lazuli, Cayman and his war cry.
Which is Lazuli.
And the goes on for a while.
Yeah.
And then he strafes Sadar's ship and then gets blown up.
Yeah. I mean, don't you just scream the word Scotland when you get into a fight?
I mean, maybe. Shut up. We're almost done, okay? Fuck you.
Okay.
Shad's like, oh, fuck this, and tries to make an attack run, and he...
Because everyone's fucking dead now.
Yeah, everyone's dead. Nell was flying around, he's shooting nukes as they, or lock on and get close, and then they get hit, and Nell's memory banks are destroyed.
Yeah, Nell just starts, like...
She's asking for, like, where's Zed?
It's kind of, like, fucked
horrible.
up.
Yep. So Shad changes switches the ship to manual to be like, okay, I'll pilot, you don't know what the fuck is going on right now, it's fine. Sadar has a tractor beam locked onto Nell and begins to drag them aboard to take everyone alive because evil. He begins his victorious maniacal laughter.
Everyone joins in. It's like that scene in Austin Powers where everyone joins in with Dr. Evil, except it's played straight.
Yeah. Shad has a whole conversation like, I'm just going to self-destruct this fucking thing. So, they won't take us alive. And then decides to fly directly in the direction of the tractor beam to kind of ram the ship, but doesn't really. I don't know why he keeps doing this.
I think it's just sort of like to not fight back, to just kind of go with it.
Yeah. It's at this point that Nell's like, hey, you can use the escape pod. It's like, oh, there's an escape pod? Good.
She's like, well, yeah, I wouldn't like let myself get blown up if you were inside me. Like,
yeah.
Isn't this around the time that Nell starts just thinking Shad is Zed?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Nell sets up a self-destruct as they dock with Sadar's ship, and troops flood from the bridge to the docking bay to, meet them and then take over Nell. Shad and... This is when it gets really weird because the cuts are horrendous. Shad and Anelia get into the escape pod and launch. Before that, Nell forgets how to count down from 30.
Yeah, it's like, set a timer for 30 seconds. She's like, 30, 29, 15, 11, 8, 27. Like, maybe you should just count down from 10. She's like, okay.
Yeah. The escape pod launches. The self-destruct goes off. Boom. Everything is crumbling around him. Sadar refuses to believe he's lost and is like, I'm going to live forever! And then the explosions start happening. And then we just get this very sad, I want to live forever. And then his ship explodes.
Yeah, he's... Saxon didn't have a whole lot to do with this character,
he did not.
But I think he managed to put a whole lot of...
You can tell an actor was fucking trying in these movies.
Yeah, he was trying to do something with him here.
Yeah. With the day one in their little escape pod, Shad and Anelia sort of reflect on everyone they've lost and how they will always be with them, and then the movie just ends.
Yeah. And that was...
Sorry, the cut to credits is like whiplash. It's like,
oh yeah.
No matter what, they will always live on in our hearts, and then it just goes bang, credits.
This is a very common thing in old movies, hell, the old Toho kaiju movies, so many of those end so abruptly. It's ridiculous. I remember Rodan is particularly bad for it.
Right.
It's just, the movie is over now. Okay, cool. Epilogues, what are they? They're for cowards, like Zack Snyder.
Please, no, I do not want to get into that today. I've had enough of weird, bad movies at the moment.
Okay, so before I give some trivia over this movie, what did you think about Battle Beyond the Stars?
You know, if I didn't have to be writing notes for this the whole time and could watch it in a oneer with a bunch of beer and some friends, it would be a laugh. Which I think is the ideal way to watch Corman studio movies.
Yeah, the moment you have to think about them, that's
it's
a
painful.
problem.
Yes.
And unfortunately, to do something like this, it involves thinking about them.
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like, I watched it a few months ago for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is a stupid movie. It's fine.
It's a stupid bit of fun.
Kind of a silly Star Wars knockoff.
Yeah.
With some moments that are cool, some moments that are a bit, but overall fine. But yeah, the moment, like when I was going through and doing my own notes, which obviously nowhere near as rigorous as yours were, I was like, oh wow, yeah. When you actually think about the things that are happening, like this is a movie of a lot of things happening.
Yeah, it's a lot of cuts to other places that kind of weren't required.
Yeah, and just a lot of, because there's so many characters being juggled, but it also doesn't really do much with a lot of them.
Yeah,
like
Cayman doesn't matter.
Cayman might as well have not been there.
Saint X-Men kind of has a point.
She at least takes out the
the
big gun.
The Kelvin are there for one scene. Quopeg does not fucking matter.
Nestor, as much as I like them,
doesn't matter.
So yeah, you could excise like a lot of this, and it wouldn't really matter. Oh, fun fact. I don't know if you noticed, but in some of the shots in the space battles, like when they're showing explosions, they reuse the shots of Nestor's ship being blown up.
Yep.
So you see Nestor's ship after it has been destroyed because they reuse the shot of it exploding.
Mm-hmm.
Which is very good. Although, a fun point is that, so they talk about at the end, the little thing they say at the end where they're like, oh, the people, our comrades will live on with us, forever.
Yeah.
The Kelvins may have survived.
Yep.
And Nestor definitely did, because those were just facets of Nestor. Like, Nestor, the entity, Nestor, still exists.
The Gestalt organism, whatever, still exists, yeah.
Yeah, he's still around. Yeah, so, both of those did exist. But yeah, I think that's definitely the kind of thing. It's not great, it's not terrible, but just don't think about it if you watch it.
It's that sort of cheesy movie where if you were sitting, again, with some beers and some mates, would be a good laugh.
Yeah.
But when you're doing something like me, where I was having to pause to take notes, then resume, then pause, then resume, then pause, you miss out on the fun stuff, and you don't have time to take in the miniatures.
Yeah, because the miniature effects, this is James Cameron stuff, because James Cameron used to do, he was a special effects guy before he was a director.
Mm-hmm.
And
he, like I said earlier at the start, he did matte painting. I think he did matte paintings for Escape from New York, actually. Might be wrong in that, but I've got something in my head.
Yeah, I'm 99% certain he did the special effects on that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a vague remembrance of there's a wireframe model in that.
In Escape from New York, yes, there is.
Yeah, and rather than it being a computer effect, it's literally a model, but with all the edges painted in fluorescent paint.
It was really fucking smart, and it looks great.
Yeah, but yeah. So the special effects are pretty good. Some of the designs are a bit weird, although I've heard that's down to Roger Corman. Apparently he's weird about stuff, and you have to know how to work him. There's stories of basically if you show a set to him, mm-hmm. and there's the set designers working on it, he'll hate it and demand it's changed. But if there's no one working on it, it doesn't matter if it's done or not. He'd be okay with it. So what would happen is that when he was about to come on set, a runner would tell James Cameron that was the case, and he'd tell all the builders to scatter.
Good.
Because that was the only way to get it so it worked. And there's something stupid, James Cameron got fired 3 times off this movie and then just got rehired.
The other thing about the ships in movies that Corman had a hand in is you're going to see them again. That's why they're good models.
Yeah, I'll I'll get to that.
Oh.
That's in my trivia section.
Okay.
Shall I start that now then?
Please do.
Okay, so yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the ship that the Nell AI was on, which, yeah, I guess you call the ship the Nell or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, the crew referred to it as the flying uterus, apparently, because
Because of course it did.
the film itself, as you may have noticed from our run-through, is heavily inspired by Akira Kurosawa's The Seven Samurai.
Except it does nothing good.
Which is presumably the reason why the planet's called Akira, and they call them the Akira.
Yeah.
Because it's just a nod to where they got it from. Now, it probably says something about me that I have never seen The Seven Samurai, nor the Western remake, The Magnificent Seven, but I have on multiple occasions watched Battle Beyond the Stars.
I've seen The Magnificent Seven. I need to get around to watching Seven Samurai, because it's one of those movies that you probably should if you're a film fan.
Yes, I've never actually seen any Kurosawa films, and I absolutely should, because lots of things I like are inspired by his work, including like Star Wars.
Star Wars was, inspired by The Hidden Fortress.
Yes, it was. This was also, at the time, it was Roger Corman's most expensive film.
At £2 million.
Yeah. As such, the footage was reused in a bunch of different movies that he made, and the soundtrack was reused so that the music that is nearly Wrath of Khan appears in other movies. One of the weirder movies that shots of this shows up in is the unreleased Fantastic Four film that Corman made.
Of course it fucking does.
A movie that was actually in my list of like, oh, could we could maybe do that in an episode of these one time.
Yeah, and then I said no.
It's
not even a bad movie. Just no.
I actually find it genuinely interesting because it's not good, but it is still the only film adaptation. Movie. It's still the best Fantastic Four movie because the other three are so unwatchably shit.
Yep.
Like, have you seen the Fan 4 stick, the Josh Trank one?
I don't fucking remember, man. It's been a while.
It's fucking terrible. It's real bad. And the worst part about all of them is that they all have shit Doctor Dooms. None of them have managed to get a good Doctor Doom. Yeah. But the Roger Corman Fantastic Four is just comic book Doctor Doom. He's fine.
He's in a suit and everything.
Yeah, which is why it's the only watchable Fantastic Four movie, despite being kind of terrible.
Hey, film people, if you're wanting to do a Fantastic Four thing or any other Marvel thing that involves Doctor Doom, he has to actually just be Doctor Doom.
Just make him Doctor Doom.
Stop trying to make him like a dude not in armour. He's a weirdo in armour.
Yeah, just have him be who he is. Because everyone loves Doctor Doom. And it's because he's a big, goofy idiot in a big suit of armour. Like, who's overly dramatic. Fucking, he's not the guy from Nip Tuck. Well, and to be fair, it wasn't that guy's fault.
No, it was not
the script he had. However, you were talking about like how it'd be interesting to see some of the backstory. Well, there was.
Oh boy.
There was in 2010 a comic book that was set 30 years before the film called Battle Amongst the Stars, and it followed like Zed's adventures.
Okay.
I don't know if it's any good. I've seen a few pages from it, and the art is not great. But I've heard some people say the comic's all right. So if you feel like reading that, give that a shot. I think it was released. I don't think it had a physical release. I think it was only released digitally, although I might be wrong there. Now, footage, as well as being reused in a bunch of Roger Corman movies, it was also used in the Sega Laserdisc game Astron Belt, a game which also contains footage from Wrath of Khan and Message from Space, which is a Japanese Star Wars knockoff.
What the fuck?
That was, funnily enough, one of the other movies in the list of movies that I gave to Longfang to say, like, maybe we could do that.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah. It was like an arcade and an MSX game. I don't know anything else about it.
Right.
Because, Laserdisc games are a weird thing.
Yeah.
Now, as well as having special effects by James Cameron, There is another person who you may be familiar with if you're familiar with the work of James Cameron, who was also who was also involved in this movie. Bill Paxton was also involved in making this movie.
This is how they met, wasn't it?
I think so, because he was a carpenter.
Or they met on like Corman Productions.
Yeah, he was a carpenter on this film.
Yep.
Like he was just there, just hammering nails, and that was it. But there is a couple of people who were involved in this movie. One of which, so there's one of the extras in this movie is Kathy Griffin. I have no idea what to do with that information, but I just want to tell you this.
Huh.
And there is another one. So you know the two Kelvin, the little alien dudes.
Yeah.
One of those is played by Laura Cody.
The name's
the voice actress of Rose from Metal Gear Solid.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
From Metal Gear Solid 2 and 4, I think the one she's in.
Yes.
Yeah, that is a piece of information that I read and I was like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What? She also did voices in the English dub of Akira, funnily enough, considering the planet is called Akira and the people are called the Akira, which I thought was kind of interesting. But yeah, so that was Battle Beyond the Stars. Do you have any final thoughts?
Fuck you, Webb.
Hey, look, I gave you a list of multiple movies, and this is the one you selected.
Admittedly, I thought the dumb Corman one would be fun. I know there was technically two, but you know what I mean.
You could have done Star Crash. You could have done Message from Space.
I didn't want to do, I'll be honest, for the sake of me taking notes, I didn't want to do a film that would have to be subtitled.
I'm pretty sure
Message
Message from... Yeah, no. I'm pretty sure Message from Space is dubbed, the version that I watched anyway. And yeah, so that would be fine. That would be fine. But yeah, it is a movie where I understand why it has a bit of a cult status. Because it does have those elements. Some of the outrageous outfits, like, you know, I know, like, I know I've kind of like, you know, made fun of the Saint X-Men ridiculous outfits, but they are iconic. Like,
oh yeah, they're like fucking like Sybil Danning's a B movie like royal or is B movie royalty for a reason.
I remembered that when I was looking through like information, I remembered that she's in The Howling 2. Which, a movie that has the subtitle, Your Sister is a Werewolf.
Yes.
Is that the one that, like, one of the alternate subtitles is Sturber Werewolf Bitch?
I don't know.
Because one of them does have that subtitle, which is such an outrageously weird subtitle that is, yeah.
Good.
But yeah, and like the ships, like the weird slug ship with tits... it's because it's such a it's a ship design you remember because it's so weird.
Yeah,
like it's just a peculiar looking thing. And so it's going to be something that sticks in your mind. And even seeing a holographic John Saxon with ketchup on his face appearing in the sky is like a thing you're going to remember. So
hell yes it is.
Yeah. And if you want to watch this one, you can just watch it. It's on Amazon Prime if you want to watch it, like easily. It's just up there. So yeah, I guess that's us done for this episode of The Men with the Funny Heads.
Yes, I can go rest now.
So before we do the plugs, I do feel that I there wasn't a gap for me to say any more jokes from my joke book. So I'm just going to read you one more now. What do Finn and Poe do at the gym?
I don't know.
Resistance training.
Okay, that's just bad.
Yep. Thank you, officially licensed Star Wars joke book, and thank you, my dad, for buying it for me. Anyway, if people want to find you, Longfang, on the internet, what locations can they find you on?
You can find me at Twitter at Longfang91 and on Twitch at twitch.tv/Longfang91.
And you can find me on the Snipe and Wib channel and Wib Does Stuff channel on YouTube, on my other podcast, The Misanthropod, on Twitter at Wib Does Tweets, and in your nightmares.
And Patreon.
And on Patreon, on the Snipe and Wib Patreon.
Yep.
Yes. If you want to give me money to mean that these things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know how to end this one.
Like, both our brains are fucking melted. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Do not remember the first rule of the Vada to use an opposing force's power against themselves.
Fuck up and kill this thing.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.